hold on. Wasn't it Rudolph and Curia and Natsuhi and Klaus? And then Dr. Nanjo? Uh-oh. And now two of the ones that the witch Eva announced are already leaving the group.
Certainly, the body cannot last with nothing more than a small breakfast, but...
Of course we understand. Still, as time passes, it'll get darker and darker out. It's probably at its brightest now. It's the most convenient time.
Only about an hour has passed since Rosa-san was attacked. This is simply too reckless.
What? I thought they had already gotten canned food. Was it still canned food from the guest house? Maybe I misunderstood. I thought that at the guest house they only had crackers and snacks. And then they brought the canned food from the mansion later, but apparently they didn't. So I guess the canned food was also part of what the guest house had, and now they finally want to go to the mansion to get more food. It was only natural that Natsuhi was yelling about recklessness. After all, Rudolph had said he was going to the mansion to get food. Certainly on top of their fatigue, their hunger was tormenting them. In the beginning, a mild level of hunger had been just what they needed to fight off drowsiness. However, it now just made their minds hazy, since it was still only midday, and their bodies felt like they were reaching their limits. The thought of going to the kitchen in the mansion and bringing back some food certainly was attractive.
I am opposed to this. It may be a little rough, but we definitely shouldn't leave this place.
Don't worry about us, but it would pain my heart to keep the children hungry. I must be responsible as a parent.
Dear, now that father's dead, you are the Yoshidomiya family head.
Hey, that rhymed.
It is not permissible for you to take on such a danger.
Also, just... Is the chat actually working? Oh, okay, it is. Not that I want all of you to constantly write something. I was just wondering if maybe Christian was there and he wrote something in the chat and it just didn't appear for me. But it seems to work.
You're right. It's like Natsuhi-san says. Klaus-san, you should remain here as our leader.
Then who will go to the mansion?
Oh, he is here. Have you been here for long already? Or did he just come?
Holy shit! I think it should be Kiri and me, and Hideyoshi-san too. Hideyoshi-san and I have guns. They shouldn't be able to lay a hand on us that easily.
Rosa-san also had a gun, but she was attacked. Won't it be dangerous?
When I went out to check on Rosa and Maria-chan, I had a gun, but I was alone. And yet I wasn't attacked. Maybe they'll be cautious if their opponent is a man.
I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but okay.
We'll have 2 men. And even 2 guns. Those 2 will act as guards, and I'll transport our cargo using a cart. I believe the situation will be significantly different than it was for Rosa.
If you count on me, because I'm a man, I'd be happy to help. I may not look it, but I'm built pretty strong for pushing food stands around.
Oh, okay.
Leave the heavy lifting to me.
You men can devote yourselves to guarding. There's a folding cart in the servant room, and using that, I should be able to handle carrying the food. Of course, we'll be careful. And if we can succeed in this adventure just yet once, there won't be any need for us to take risks again. Is there any way I can get you to rethink this? It may be painful for everyone to deal with empty stomachs, but even so, we do not know what is happening outside now.
We'll take care. And Eva's feeling pretty darn bad right now. We can't let her stay hungry. If her stomach's empty, she can't take her medicine. I have to get on for Eva's sake as well. How is Eva?
Looks like she's finally going to sleep. She has a high fever. If we just leave her be for a while.
You can't just stand still when it comes to your wife's health. Understood. I'll give you permission to go outside.
Then we'll take a little trip there and back. Speed contest. Canned food is okay, right? You at least have a can opener here, don't you?
I thought they already ate canned food anyway, so why is he even asking that?
Yes, we have a can opener and a bottle opener. There's running water in the guest house, so we won't need anything to drink. We need to get 10 people's worth, so no being picky about what you get.
Alright.
Why don't we dash out and bring it back quickly? There's no time to open umbrellas. See you, Aniki. I'll trust you to look after this place.
Take care. Under normal circumstances, I want to go too. Being a man, I despise how this title of the oldest brother prevents me from lending a hand in an emergency like this.
This is about the only time we get to show off. Sit back and take it easy every once in a while, Aniki. Okay, Natsuki-san. Wait here and get some towels ready or something. We aren't using umbrellas, so we'll be soaked to the bone when we get back.
Understood. Take care.
Rudolph, Kiria, and Hideyoshi, each leaving their own brave words behind, left the lobby. You know what? My first thought was when Kiria proposed that they go outside, that Rudolph and Kiria get murdered. But now that just Natsuhi and Klaus stayed behind, I kind of feel like it's gonna be Natsuhi and Klaus who get murdered. Compared to the time Rosa and Maria had gone outside, the winds were much stronger. Rudolph's group of 3 people jogged through the rose garden without umbrellas, holding their guns in a folded cart. If everything had been still and quiet, without the wind and the rain, they would probably have kept their ears open and moved with caution. But in this rain, even if some suspicious person was hiding nearby, it would be difficult to notice them. Because of that, it had been Rudolph's plan to instead dash through the dangerous area. If there was a chance that their opponent was equipped with a gun, then walking slowly with their guard up would only make them targets. Taking swift action was probably the correct choice.
Rose Garden. Feels like we're just asking to be attacked.
Please let nobody come out of there.
Even as Rudolph and Hideyoshi continued to run, they looked around restlessly, vigilant of their surroundings. Rosa and Maria's death had not been caused by a projectile weapon. However, it was easy to suspect that the servants had been killed in such a manner. Will they come flying out of the dark? Or will they take careful aim and snipe from the shadows? Either way, they couldn't relax their tension for even an instant. But even so, when they reached the overhang in front of the entrance to the mansion and escaped the reach of the raindrops, they felt themselves breathing a sigh of relief.
No problems for the first step. Unlike how it was for Oza-san. Maybe they can't get their hands on us easily.
I'd like to believe that. Kiria, unlock the door while we keep a lookout.
Sure. Returning home to the mansion with a pair of SPs makes me feel just like an executive.
What is an SP? With a pair of SPs. I don't know. Super piglets. Sneaky piglets. Snuggle piglets. I don't know. Probably something like bodyguards.
We had to welcome a party of servants with red carpet, it'd be perfect.
A welcoming party, huh? You never know. Be careful.
As the two cautiously surveyed their surroundings, Kiria unlocked the entrance with the master key she had been given.
It's open.
Hideyoshi-san, can you take the front? I'll keep an eye on the rear.
Understood. Kiria-san, try not to move from my shadow. Okay, let's break in.
Rear guard, what is that? Covering.
Oh man. Even in a situation like this, you're just playing around, aren't you?
Give it up, that's how men are. Seriously though, that stench is awful.
It felt like the air in the mansion was stagnant with a gloomy silence, and on top of that it was still thick with the stench from Kinzo's burned corpse in the boiler room. I guess Urban Dictionary is not giving you the right definition here then. I mean, I could look what it was in Japanese, but whatever. Well, hold on, I think I missed some text there. And there was struggling on nobody's well, maybe it didn't.
No problems in the front. Just a short dash to the kitchen.
Let's finish this quickly and head home. The suit will get fumigated with that stench.
The three of them dashed towards the kitchen.
Oh no.
Okay, I did not expect this actually. I really thought it would be Rudolph, Klaus and Natsuhi now. And after they disappeared from the entrance hall, the new witch appeared there. They were lured out just as planned. Just as planned, they got caught in my trap. The witch grinned. Thinking about it now, no matter how unbearable their hunger had grown, it hadn't even been a few hours since Rosa and Maria had been attacked and had lost their lives. In that case, why had they needed to recklessly leave the guest house? Until that question could be dealt with, the only answer was that they had been called out by the witch's magic.
What reckless people? They'll never leave this mansion alive. Seal yourself, Locke. Seal yourself, mansion.
The instant she proclaimed that, the mansion was sealed off into a separate world? What? Unless her barrier was undone, no longer would anyone be able to exit this mansion or enter it. Spectacular.
To think that even though barely half a day has passed since you succeeded the Endless Witch, you can use magic this well. That talent surprises me. It's almost as though you were born a witch.
Well, I have been a witch since the time of my birth. Who taught you how to blink? That's what using magic is like for me.
What a fearsome person.
The witch's face twisted with brutality. She just couldn't help looking forward to toying with someone's life again. Uh-oh.
Well then. First up is Rudolph and Curia, but in what cruel way should I kill them?
Please, no.
If you don't mind me saying, your predecessor Sama has left instructions that you are to restrain yourself from committing murders of unnecessary cruelty, and there is an etiquette for offering the sacrifices from the fourth twilight onwards. For that you must borrow the power of the seven sisters of purgatory.
Oh really? Now that you mention it, that's right. I could only play as I like with that second twilight. Boring. Just when I thought I could play to my heart's content like I did with Rosa. But that only counts for how they're killed in their end, right?
Meaning?
I could just kill them however I want over and over again, revive them, and then follow the epitaph during the last time I killed them, right? So in the end, no matter how I play, it isn't a problem. Who'd act well behaved with an entertaining power like this?
Her absurd argument was, for an endless witch, an extremely valid one. The etiquette that controlled the manner of killing the sacrifices of the fourth twilight and onwards was represented by lines like gouge the head. However, that referred to the way those people died in the end. In other words, in the process leading up to that, she was free to tease and kill them however she wanted. She just had to keep on reviving them and follow the rules only when she killed them the final time. Though Nove felt that her innocent cruelty was part of her talent as a witch, he was beginning to notice a innately brutal side of her.
They do say that apprentices are the most brutal of witches, and now I see this may be true. Do as you wish, is what I would like to say, but here it may actually be wiser to show restraint. They have guns. Weapons with a high anti-magic power, such as guns, are the natural enemies of witches and demons.
Are they? The witch stared blankly at this demon butler, who was surprisingly afraid of guns. That can't be right. Shouldn't witches be able to take a shot from a bullet easily?
No, it would be just as fatal for a witch as it would be for a normal human.
Can't read today.
To prevent that weak point from being noticed, most witches rigorously strengthen the guard with the defensive protective barriers and furniture.
Do I have any of those protective barrier things?
Constructing a barrier to make even gun bullets effective requires much in the way of preparation and ceremonies. I'm afraid to say that Beatrice Summer currently has none of those. Furthermore, you are currently ill-prepared to summon furniture strong enough to block a bullet.
So even though I've become a great witch with this much magical power, I really do have to be afraid of lead bullets? It's annoying, but I don't have a choice. So in that case, should I call some furniture to act as my arms and legs?
Yes, leaving everything to your servants while not exposing yourself to danger is also part of a witch's refined tastes. Beatrice Summer, leave this to the furniture and hide in a safe place.
I get it. I call on the seven sisters of purgatory. I don't care who, any two.
Leviathan and Belphegor responded to that call. Leviathan of Envy right here. Belphegor of Sloth right here.
Show me your power. Your targets are Rudolph and Curia. Don't attack Hideyoshi. Come on, show me just how cruel you can be, furniture. My apologies, but we received orders from the predecessor Sama to refrain from unnecessarily cruel actions. But I think the predecessor Sama's order does give us some leeway to tease them. Do you still want to go through with it? Huh, I get it, I'll compromise. Don't let them die easily. Thoroughly corner them and let them taste the fear of death before killing them. Will that be okay, Renove?
Yes, depending on the degree, I do not believe that will be a problem.
Then go. Yes, leave it to us.
Your opponents are armed with guns. For those such as you, dodging them should be easy, but if you are hit, the wound will be fatal. Proceed with an appropriate level of caution.
Don't worry, we aren't that incompetent. The two sisters of purgatory vanished. Renove bowed and vanished himself. There are even rules on how to kill them.
Why do I have to be constrained by my predecessor, Sama? It's so rigid and boring.
As the witch looked up at the portrait of the predecessor Beatrice hung in the hall, she cursed. The three people had already arrived at the kitchen and were gathering food supplies. Considering the possibility of poison, they gave up on the alluring fruits and vegetables, and gathered a whole cardboard box full of only the safe canned foods. It was very heavy, but by piling it on the cart, they could carry it well enough. There should be more than enough for 10 people to hold out until tomorrow's breakfast. That should carry them until the boat arrives. The 2 men were supposed to be focused solely on guard duty, but the weight of the load was tough on Kiria even with the cart. Hideyoshi, who wanted to show off his power, switched to be the cart pusher, and Rudolph and his wife took up the task of guard duty.
With all this, even George and the kids will be full. The trip back will be a picnic, so let's go.
When Hideyoshi vigorously announced their departure, Kiria frowned and seemed to be gazing into the distance. There was a wall in that direction. No, if her gaze could go through that, there was the main hall beyond it.
What is it, Kiria?
It's vague, but I've got a bad feeling gnawing at me. Kiria stopped walking and narrowed her eyes even further.
Women's intuition?
At times like this, Kiria's intuition often rang true, even when she didn't have a logical reason. Rudolph believed in that intuition. Yes, someone's probably waiting to ambush us. I didn't sense them before, but just now I felt it. Just now someone set up an ambush for us.
And there's no reason to go back the way we came. There's a back door over there, right? Let's leave that way.
Rudolph made to unlock the back door. When goods were carried into the kitchen, they never passed through the part of the mansion that the family came and went from. So outside the back door, there was probably a ramp used to carry things in. Surely they would be able to leave through there with a cart.
What the heck? It's stuck. Damn, what's going on?
Can you open it?
No. Is it broken? It isn't giving an inch.
Rudolph tried various things, first using force, then coaxing it, but the lock was as hard as stone and didn't even budge.
Don't force it. Let's leave through the front entrance. Right now, it'll be even worse if we stand around wasting time. You think this is a trap?
I don't know. Be careful. Oh dear. With strained expressions, the 3 of them returned to the hall again and headed for the entrance.
Who is it?
The instant they exited into the hall, Rudolph noticed a suspicious shadow right in front of them and yelled. In that instant, a storm of gold leaves started blowing and gold butterflies covered the area with a gold color. I can't believe it. A lowly human predicted our ambush? It isn't my fault. I was hiding my presence. Don't hesitate. Fire! Oh, damn. The 2 guns spouted fire. The lead bullets blasted right through the magical defense of the pair as easily as though it were a wet paper wall. But the 2 figures that should have been there had disappeared. Certainly guns were frightening objects for them, but there was no need to fear as long as they weren't hit. They at least had enough speed to dodge those. Wait a sec. You won't even give us a chance to say our names? This is why I hate humans. Leviathan was a full 10 meters from where she had supposedly been, popping her head out from behind the pillars in the shadow of the staircase and protesting. In accordance with Beatrice Summer's orders, we will hunt you down. Our orders tell us to make you take some time and to tease you. You are free to resist, but know that it will be useless. That voice came from overhead. Belphegor could be seen on top of the hall chandelier. Elegantly looking down upon them, she proclaimed their execution with a cruel smile.
What are these girls?
Forget the cart. We have 2 opponents, so if we split up, they can't chase all of us. All 3 of them were well acquainted with the inside of the mansion. In case of a crisis, they had planned to run off in several directions, returning to the guest house by breaking windows and leaving through a back door. Fighting was forbidden, as long as they could fully escape.
In a tight spot, escaping is victory.
The 3 of them ran to the depth of the mansion at full tilt. That pair of furniture calmly watched them go. I'll kill the woman. You take the man. Understood. The furniture and the shadows of the pillars and on the chandelier made their figures explode, and leaving behind only the sound of a hopping beetle knocking against the wall, they pursued their respective targets. The speed was overwhelming, and they easily blocked the other's path of retreat. Let's see what this furniture's got. I hope they're at least able to amuse me.
Beatrice Summer, it may not be prudent for you to reveal your form unnecessarily.
And you don't unnecessarily move your king away from the center. That's part of a monarch's and a witch's dignity.
Is it? Belphegor was already blocking the way in front of Rudolph, who had boldly tried to escape to the second floor.
It's useless to try and resist her escape. You don't need to think about anything. Just close your eyes. I'll gently end it all for you.
You'd make a good wife. Husbands love to hear that kind of thing when they come home all tired.
Huh? To think you're still relaxed enough to speak with such insolence at a time like this. Beatrice-sama, thank you for this excellent prey. Die.
Rudolph shot first. But even before that bullet could hit her, Belphegor had already moved behind Rudolph's back. She then raised a purple curve springing out from her arm. However, incredibly, before that arm could decapitate Rudolph, he had swung his gun behind him. The barrel remained pointing behind his back from the same motion with which he had reloaded the same sort of gun one-handedly. It was pointing right at Belphegor's chest. It was the sound of the ejected empty cartridge finally hitting the wall after the reload. In other words, it meant that the next shot was already fully loaded. Without turning around, his gun pointing right at Belphegor's chest, Rudolph grinned.
Not bad for a middle-aged man.
Don't look down on the generation that loves old westerns, okay? You brats don't know anything about the refinement of a lever action.
Just like Rudolph, Kyria was also confronting a demon stake in the first floor corridor.
What a moron. You could have just escaped with your husband. You do know that was your final farewell just now, right? Don't worry. This kind of thing is my husband's specialty. I'm sure he'll come for me on a white horse soon. Why? Because he's never failed to come and save me when I'm in trouble. Not even when Asumu-san was around.
Who is Asumu-san?
What a happy couple. I'm jealous. I'm Leviathan of envy. Envy itself is my power, my anger, my lifeblood. I agree. Envy is the source of a woman's power.
If that is power, I won't lose to a girl like you. Imagine saying that to the one who governs envy. You actually think I'd let you two be reunited?
I give you a tragic farewell.
Uh-oh, the arm Leviathan swung was trailed by a purple curve. It was a magic blade that cut with the power of malice. Kyria blocked it with her gun. Even though the magic blade should have cut through the metal like butter, the gun with its extremely high magic resistance power... Ah, okay. Azuma is Rudolph's, the first wife of Rudolph that died. Even though the magic blade should have cut through the metal like butter, the gun, with its extremely high magic resistance power, was able to block the blade as easily as if it were a rolled-up newspaper. Huh. Rapidly 2 times, 3 times. It blocked all of that. That's interesting. And without missing the opening created when the purple curve took a swing upward, Kyria kicked Leviathan in the stomach with her heel. Suddenly they don't seem so mighty anymore. Leviathan was knocked away like a lightly dancing feather before the demon stake's feet touched ground again. Kyria was already pointing her gun directly at Leviathan in mid-air. From that position, the 2 women who had called envy a form of power met each other's gaze.
Can you do it? Can you pull the trigger? I can be brutal when my husband isn't around.
Rudolph tumbled down the staircase. He had been gradually cornered by Belphegor and had been pushed back into the main hall they had started from.
The predecessor-sama's furniture is pretty good. They aren't very flashy though. Beatrice-sama, it isn't over yet and it's dangerous to show yourself.
Don't tell me you're... Eva?
That used to be my name. But it's different now, Rudolph.
You don't have to tell me. You're gonna say you're the Golden Witch, Beatrice, right?
How did you know?
Since the time Rosa was killed, I had a vague idea. Rosa, forgive me. Forgive me for sending the sister you hated down to hell. Down to the hell you're in.
Beatrice-sama, look out.
Rudolph mercilessly pointed the barrel of his gun at the witch who claimed to have once been his sister. But Belphegor would not permit that and attacked savagely. She dashed, disappeared, and headed for Rudolph's back. She dodged that shot and again headed for Rudolph's back, and vanished over and over, instantly moving into Rudolph's blind spots. It was almost like she was a fairy. As she blinked in and out of vision, their figure instantly drove towards Rudolph.
Maybe this is kind of fun. Rudolph, let me sit back and watch to see how long your brave efforts last you.
At that time, there was a dull tearing sound, along with Rudolph's cry of anguish. Rudolph's reaction to the dance of the purple curve that pressed upon him had finally been too slow, and he had let it lightly cut his flank. That single wound slowed him down just once. That led to a new wound, which slowed his actions again. Leatherbird's dance began to swallow Rudolph whole. Watching Rudolph's body gradually get carved up, his former sister let out a shrill laugh. Leviathan could no longer hide her irritation that Kyria had suffered a single fatal wound.
I really am a moron. Among the 7 sisters, I was always the slowest to grow. I was always slow, always weak, always stupid. That inferiority complex became envy, and when I converted that into power, I gained a strength greater than that of any of the sisters. It's important for young girls to have a moderate inferiority complex. Teaches women about cosmetics and hard work.
What kind of attitude is that?
I don't like having you use the limits of my power against mere humans, but I can turn my envy of your ability to trust completely in your husband into power. I don't like it. Why are you so relaxed when you're fighting for your life? I wonder. I get it. You're fully convinced that your husband will come to your rescue and save you. Isn't it incredible, that trust of yours? It's enough to make me jealous.
What kind of trust did we sisters have for each other? The sisters are always looking down on each other, trying to thoroughly lambast each other when things already look bad. I've always been bullied by my sisters. I've always wanted just one person to take my side. So when I see you with a single ally who's completely trustworthy, I feel the strongest envy. That confident expression of utter belief in your husband, I can feel it giving me power. I might even surpass that. The speed of sound. Leviathan turned herself into a stake. I guess that was part of the music. And the speed of her flight as she attacked was proportional to the strength of her envy. Since the day my sisters looked down on me, I was jealous from the bottom of my heart of the other 6 who grew quickly. I was jealous for 7 days and 7 nights. You can see the power I gained as a result of my speed. Dai Ushidomiya Kyria. The demon's stake exposed her true form, leaping about at a terrible speed. The noise from her bouncing off the wall sounded like a machine gun. By now, Kyria probably couldn't tell if it was a single stake or a swarm of beetles flying and bouncing around. Leviathan was over 100% certain of her victory, believing in it from the bottom of her heart. Then Kyria spoke with an unbelievably calm voice.
I was the one who went out with Rudolph's-san first. Asuma-san blatantly cut in between us and shrewdly got pregnant. I don't blame Rudolph-san. That woman used her body as a weapon to seduce him and then acted even more repulsively, cornering Rudolph-san and forcing him to get engaged to her.
Asuma-san had been carrying Batlokun, and at the same time I was also carrying a boy. Oh, as fate would have it, our delivery dates were on the same day. Then Asuma-san gave birth to Batlokun, but I had a stillbirth. I think about it sometimes. What if Asuma-san had had the stillbirth and I had been the one to give birth? Would Rudolph-san have broken off his engagement and married me? But I couldn't give birth to my child. So until Asuma-san died, and until I got pregnant with Anji, I cursed Asuma-san and was jealous. Let Asuma-san die. Then I want him to marry me. In my envy, I kept cursing like that over and over until Asuma-san finally died. I was certain that I had used the power of magic to curse and kill Asuma-san. But that didn't quell the flames of my envy. Don't tell anyone, okay? Every time I look at Batlokun, I remember that woman. Every single time I look at him, I think that if only my child had been born, he would be the same age. I'm still jealous of her, tormented by her. Even now, and from now on, into the future, for all eternity. You say you were jealous of your sisters for 7 days and 7 nights?
That's right.
Don't make me laugh, little girl. How could you understand the madness of a woman whose man was stolen from her and who's burned with envy for 18 years? Damn. The Leviathan had the power of 24 hours times 7 days, or 168 hours of speed. then the power that Kyria had piled up was 24 hours in 1 day, 365 days in 1 year, and 18 whole years. Even without counting leap years, that was 157,680 hours. Compared to Leviathan's power and speed, it was more than 938 times greater. So then even if Leviathan could soar at the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers per hour, to Kyria's eyes it only looked like 938th of that. Which means 1,225 divided by 938 is a speed of 1.3 kilometers per hour. They say a human's walking speed is 4 kilometers per hour, so it was even less than half of that. This is almost the same speed as a baby crawling on the floor, which means Kyria has superpowers right now. In the time it took the demon stake to move at a pace so slow that you could count all the bits of dust floating through the air, Kyria looked at it with pity. She pitied the slowness at which it came towards her. Damn. Then she lazily raised the barrel of her gun, almost as though she was trying to swallow the demon stake up with the gun barrel. You're completely lacking in both romance and envy. Try harder next time, little girl. Shit. Gotta say, that was pretty badass. Rudolph, what happened to all that vigor from a couple seconds ago? You're supposed to slice up a fish while it's still flopping around. After it dies, it isn't interesting anymore. That's enough. Why not kill you now? God damn it. I'm surprised you managed to endure this long after being carved up. That's enough. From now on, you don't need to think about anything. I'll steal away your life painlessly.
Wait, there's a favor I want to ask. At the very end, I want to do one of those.
What do you mean, one of those?
You know, the thing you see in all the westerns. We start with our backs together, walk 3 steps, and then bang.
A duel. Very well. If that will satisfy your regrets in this world, I'll accept. Rudolph moved his wound-covered body and turned his back to her. Belphegor responded and turned her back to his. Belphegor had an honest nature that was uncommon in the witch's furniture. Let me warn you, even if you press the barrel of your gun between my eyebrows, I can move instantaneously, even faster than you could pull the trigger and have the bullet reach my scalp.
Yeah, I can feel that already. You're faster than a bullet.
I have agreed to this out of respect for your courage in challenging me to a duel despite that knowledge. Thank me.
Well, you're an honest and principled person. And a good woman. You might just steal my heart away.
Let's begin. 3 steps will do fine, yes? First, 1 step.
2 steps.
3 steps. Is that okay?
Yep. And since you still haven't noticed after walking 3 whole steps, it's my victory, miss.
Rudolph turned around and fired a bullet. However, Belphegor could easily see through the speed and trajectory of a bullet like that. It should have been no problem at all to dodge it. Did he shoot at something that would reflect it at her? But a spray of fresh blood flew about. Belphegor had set up an adequate magical defensive barrier, but before an incarnation of anti-magic power such as that bullet, it was completely meaningless. What are you doing? Why did you get hit? The bullet had hit Belphegor right in the chest. The pain from the lead caused her to grimace, as did the pain from the denial of magic.
Forgive me, I'm a coward of a man.
What a killjoy, to think that furniture of a witch could be defeated by a human. Know your shame. Worthless, pathetic. Only you just grovel and die.
Credit Aniki. She could have dodged it, but she didn't. She realized that you were in the line of fire, Aniki.
Ah. That's brilliant. You just made her walk 3 steps so she would stand in front of the Aether Witch.
So this faithful girl took it without dodging, protecting you. At the very end, she saw that I was pinning the rook and the king at the same time.
Spectacular.
Don't hate me for it. I plan to resign if you notice it while you were taking those 3 steps.
You added those 3 steps out of consideration for me, didn't you? I didn't even try to think about it. I was lazy.
And now you're dead. You're a good woman. Go to heaven before me and get yourself all made up. I'll definitely come and chat you up.
Well, this is turning out not the way I expected it to. As Belphegor slowly fell over, she lost even the power that kept her in human form, and she grew small like gold dust, melting into thin air. At that point, Kyria dashed in. It seemed that she had somehow defeated her pursuer by her own hands. As she pointed the barrel of her gun straight at the witch, she ran up to the wound-covered Rudolph.
Are you okay? Were you chatting someone up just now?
Yep, a good woman. Even no match for you, of course. Sorry, Aniki. Checkmate.
The two of them pinned the witch down the barrels of their guns.
Worthless furniture. To think they'd be beaten by human opponents. Worthless. Stupid. Boring.
Beatrice-sama, we should retreat for now. There's no furniture or barrier to guard against bullets here.
Uh-oh. The witch began to let out a muffled laugh. It surprised not only Rudolph and Kyria, but Renov as well, because a situation like this with two guns pointed at her was not one that even a witch could just laugh off. They should just pull the trigger now. But the witch laughed with pleasure.
Well, it's only natural that the predecessor Sama's worn-out furniture couldn't do it. I need to get new furniture that's suitable for me. I used them out of obligation, but I've always hated second-hand stuff.
As she said that, she looked down at Belphegor's remains, which had already finished turning into a pile of gold dust, with disgust.
I don't know what you're talking about. Be a good girl and put your hands up.
Then the witch obediently raised her hands, but instead of raising her hands because a gun was being pointed at her, it looked more like she was a conductor facing an orchestra, waving her conductor's baton.
Come, arise furniture suitable for me. Not that cheap furniture, much stronger ones. Cruel ones. Stop this bizarre act. I'll pull the trigger.
Yeah, you should just do it. The fact that they're not pulling the trigger is going to be their downfall. In response to the witch's call, the hall was once again burned with the color of gold. As the brilliantly radiant gold butterflies danced, it felt as though they were being sucked into an ocean of gold leaf. Renov was shocked at that upsurge in magical power. After all, it far surpassed that of his former master. As their eyes were dazzled amidst this golden flash, a gunshot could be heard. Either Rudolph or Kyria had fired a round. Then, when the golden flash subsided, at the very least the witch was standing there, looking cool and composed. The bullet? Kyria must have fired into her, but the witch had not been hit anywhere on her body. But there it is. The bullet had been fastened in midair right in front of the witch's chest.
A bulletproof barrier?
In an instant, a barrier that would require a significant amount of preparation even for the predecessor had been. Renault's face was twisted in shock, and the surprises did not end there. The cloud of gold butterflies had created two humanoid forms. It was a furniture summoning. What the hell? What is with that outfit? Why on earth was that necessary? The butterflies peeled off and flew away, and beneath them, furniture in the shape of girls showed themselves.
The Chiester sister corps, even the predecessor, wasn't able to summon Pendragon's memorial troops on a moment's notice, and to do it so easily.
Chiester 410, right here.
Is that what is Chiester? What is that even? Chiester? Chiester? Okay, I guess it is Chiester.
Chiester 45, right here. You two are suitable furniture for me, I take it. From eating a picture book out aloud to going on a date to shooting down meteoroids, we'll take care of anything.
If we don't take care of it, Pendragon somehow will get mad at us. Who the hell is that? Please, your orders, great lady Beatrice.
Rudolph-san, let's run for it.
We're no match for these ones.
Sure. Kyria definitely heard warning sirens going off in her head, thanks to the same feeling that had alerted her to the ambush by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory. Without hesitation, they escaped. As the witch elegantly watched them leave, she commanded her new furniture.
This is an order. Kill the two who ran away. Then bring the corpses back here. I'll bring him back to life and play with them over and over.
The witch's expression twisted into an evil smile. Even though she feared that expression, Lucifer appeared and spoke. Forgive my presumption, but the predecessor Sama asked that you avoid brutal actions of that sort. When the witch stared at her with those terrifying eyes, Lucifer was struck dumb. She was frustrated. It was so boring not being able to let her own power and cruelty run wild. This annoying furniture of the predecessor kept telling her to show restraint, bringing her irritation to a peak. Oh, it's Lucifer Pride. Long time no seen ya. Yeah. How you doing? Let's play together again sometime. You mustn't whisper, 410. You'll get in trouble. Let us carry out the great Lady Beatrice's order at once. Well, yeah. We are on the job right now, and yeah. The hell is that? Firing gun system startup? Firing what? Guidance system? Preparing for sniping pursuit combat. Commence data accumulation. Accumulating terrain data. Accumulating data for firing. Data link with 410. 410. Data received. Target lock acquired. Commencing terrain calculation error correction. Formulating firing curve. Supplemental control point calculations complete. Data link to 45. Okay. 45 data received. Checking hazard zone. Ah, that's no good. Lucifer-chan, better get out from behind us or you'll get roasted by the backblast. Thanks to their paired measurements, the Chiester sisters were able to instantly calculate the terrain throughout the mansion and the coordinates of the targets, as well as the firing curve to reach them. That's right, their shots could be guided to follow a curved line. None could escape. The precision guidance used by the Seven Sisters of Purgatory was nothing more than a cheap knockoff of the ability these two held. 45 firing preparations concluded. Ammo type selected and loaded. As the two of them faced each other, it was as though they were both pulling back a bowstring together. A dazzling gold arrow was ready there. 410. Firing. After giving that announcement, they released a single arrow together. As the path taken by the gold-sparkling snake of light drew a curve, it followed the direction that Rudolph and Kyria had escaped to in rapid pursuit. It turned through the corridors, crawled over the floor, chasing them as it drew a beautiful curve. No one could block the guided shots of the Chiester sisters. No one could escape from them, and their strength could pierce all physical and magical defenses. It was quite a merciless guided weapon of certain death. However, among mythical class soldiers, it was a weapon used by pretty much everyone. It was very commonplace for them and very extraordinary for those of the everyday world. What the? When he noticed something rapidly chasing them and turned around. The exact position of Rudolph's heart was pierced by the gold snake. It all happened in an instant. Rudolph-san? After the gold snake pierced Rudolph, it swooped down to the floor, drawing a beautiful spiral, coiled itself around Kyria's legs, and crawled up to her chest. And just like Rudolph, it pierced the exact location of her heart. And all of that happened in an instant. It pierced Rudolph and then Kyria. So they died, dropped to their knees, and fell over at almost the exact same time. What's this? Talk about overwhelming. Ridiculously easy, isn't it? This is the kind of furniture I need. Way different from predecessor Sama's second-hand furniture. She's gonna be the real boss fight. Come on, bring the corpses here. I'll keep reviving them until I'm bored, and I'll try killing them in as brutal a way as I can think of. That looks cool. Like the facial expressions there. To think being a witch could be so much fun, that taking a life could be so much fun. From the time humans are born, the most shunned action they can take is the murder of another human. It's only natural that humans can't understand how pleasurable it can be to break this taboo. But she was no longer a human, she was a witch, and there were some pleasures that only witches could understand. By now she had tasted those pleasures and was totally immersed in them. After learning that the contents of the forbidden pot were honey, she could no longer live without them. No, maybe the contents were honey because they were forbidden. Anyway, by killing humans gruesomely and doing it over and over, she could feel the drug-like pleasure even now. As the witch rolled over laughing, the gold snake that had just been shot returned as though being reeled in. At the tips, 2 people were pinned and dragged along. The witch's order had been fulfilled. Rudolph and Kyria had been killed instantly, and their corpses had been carried back. Chiester 45 and 410, order execution complete. We await your next order, Great Lady Beatrice. Please, your orders. From babysitting to playing online games with you, what? To shooting down a space shuttle, we'll take care of everything. Wait, online games? When was this? What year does this take place in again? Were there even online games in the year that this story takes place in? It looks like these two are the sacrifices for the 4th and 5th Twilights. So in the end, I'll need those worthless 7 sisters. Or are they the 5 sisters now? Huh. I need those guys to pierce and gouge the forehead and the chest. But I can do that at the very end, and I'm free to play in any way I want until then, right? Wait. Have you already forgotten what I've told you? Oh, it's you, predecessor Sama. Do you have any complaints? Of course I do. You're doing whatever you please, aren't you? Why haven't you followed my directions? What's wrong with doing as I please, predecessor Sama? Anyway, I don't plan on deviating from the rules of the ceremony in the slightest. I'll definitely clean those 2 corpses up later and drive stakes into their forehead and chest. I'm telling you that is not the problem. If you act so undignified and cruel, some people might take it badly. You mean your opponent in that game, the one you're supposedly fighting against somewhere? Ranov told me. Damn that blabbermouth. Well, to be perfectly honest, that's how it is. If you go a little too far, that person will object. You see? Object. Why can't this person just complain to me directly instead of making you take a message? That coward. Well, this is a resident of a different world from yours. There's no choice but to use me as an intermediary. Well, that's beside the point, but... Which means that this person couldn't interact with me even if they wanted to. And I can't interact with them even if I want to either. Simply put, this is a completely unrelated person from a world that distant, right? Indeed. For example, perhaps you could say these worlds are like very close parallel lines. The distance between them is quite small, but because the lines are parallel, they will never cross. But now that should be a convenient way for you to view that world. They never cross, which means that world has nothing to do with me. If you're speaking for that person when you tell me to show restraint, please pass this message on to them. To them? What should I say? It's none of your business. So disappear, you old hag. If only you just give up and die. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Since it was a friend of yours, I just assumed she'd be a woman. By old hag, I'm definitely not talking about you, predecessor Sama, so please don't get mad at me. Oh, damn. When she spoke, the witch was looking straight into Beato's eyes. Anyone present would be able to tell what she meant by it. Predecessor Sama, there's something I find really strange. Why do you have to play a game with someone from another world, and have him accept that you're a witch? Well, as to that, it's because making all humans accept the existence of witches is a prerequisite of perfect control. There was a single holdout who simply wouldn't accept me as a witch. Why would you need the approval of a human? Witches are witches and can use magic, so why should we need to be acknowledged by humans? Well, like I said earlier, magic is... I am a witch. I can use magic without anyone's approval in particular, so what's your point? In this world, right? However, since that person won't accept it, how should I explain it? I don't need you to. After all, isn't all this about a different world that never crosses this one? In other words, that world might as well not exist. You fighting a game in another world is absolutely no different from you telling me about stuff from your imagination. I'll say it again. It has nothing to do with me. And I am already a witch. Predecessor Sama, somehow or another, it seems that you can't become a witch as long as this person doesn't acknowledge you, but I'm different. Even though no one has acknowledged me, I'm an excellent witch already. Since you are my predecessor, I will formally pay you respect, but that's out of kindness, not out of duty. I won't ask for your advice anymore, because I clearly know what I should do and how I should play from now on. So I will carry out the murder of 13 people as a final act of respect for you. However, there is absolutely no reason for you to interfere with the methods I use, or what I do afterwards. Therefore, I'll be counting on you in that regard. At a glance, those words seemed obedient, but they contained within them a clear parting of ways. She was no longer under Beato's care in any way. That's why she was clearly saying nothing more than "don't get in the way of my fun." Beato understood that, and was dejected, realizing that no matter how she explained it, she wouldn't be able to make the witch understand. I see. Then it is no longer my problem. Go and learn with your own body how magic ceases to exist when you lose your respect for it. I wish you'd tell me where the respect was in that carefree rampage of yours up until now. After hearing that, Beato could not respond, because she remembered hearing exactly the same thing from her teacher. Okay now, Chiester sisters, see you off my predecessor on her way back.
Predecessor Summer, please leave this place. If you don't, we'll be scolded.
Throughout her body, Beato felt something unseeable from the Chiester sisters, which could only be described as an oppressive sensation. Most likely they were initiating firing calculations. It was an action much like taking out a gun and cocking it. Even Beato could not escape from the Chiester sisters' attacks without any preparation. In the past, she had placed her greatest trust in them, so she knew how terrifying they were down to her very soul.
Predecessor Summer, if you would retire, I would not recommend damaging Beatrice Summer's mood any further.
Predecessor Summer, I understand. I shall leave for now. I'll watch over the end you eventually reach at my leisure.
It was almost infinitely close to a parting shot. So after Beato vanished, the witch and her furniture doubled over laughing.
Well, I do understand. The endless power is fun. The joy of freely toying with an extremely limited life cannot be explained to those who have not tasted it. I can understand that feeling of being possessed with a pleasure similar to drugs. It must have been quite fun, judging by your antics in the past. Are you saying it's just like when you tried to admonish me in the past over and over and I did not listen? Why have you started trying to scold the child for her actions? Well... There's a single large difference between you and that child. That child may already be a witch. Of course you are also a witch, at least in the world on top of the game board. However, to be acknowledged as a witch in the world outside the game board, you need to have Batlakun, your opponent in this game, acknowledge you. You must have understood that when you started the game. What does that mean, the world on the game board and the world outside? I thought that if I could show off a whirlwind of proof that I am a witch, blow away his desire to deny me and make him surrender, he would acknowledge me as a witch. It all went my way last time, so I thought I was just a breath away. It's actually the opposite. Batlakun was disgusted by your brutality. He did not step up to the plate as a player because he acknowledged you as a worthy opponent. It was based on a strong animosity, his resolve to completely deny the existence of a brutal witch. In your foolishness, you probably felt that Batlakun's acceptance of his role as your opponent was the first step towards making him acknowledge you as a witch. However, it was actually the opposite. Batlakun challenged you in this game because he was absolutely determined not to acknowledge you, no matter how hard the thoughtless north wind blows. The traveler only wears his cloak even tighter. You were committing a huge error from the very beginning. This game is not torture to make Batlakun surrender. It is a test in which you must try to make Batlakun accept you. Well, I vaguely noticed that. The last game was a tough one for Battler, but as it seems you've already noticed, this game is a tough one for you. What should I do from now on? Think about it for yourself. Fortunately, you have already given up your pieces on the game board to the new witch. You should have plenty of time to reflect upon your own self. But Battler's already massive hostility to me. He won't accept witches, so he won't accept me. In that case, what can I do to make him accept me? Are you saying that if the north wind doesn't work, then I should shine on him as the sun from now on? Me after all this time? It's October now, the Halloween season. It's the month of rebirth, when the sun dies and is revived again. When the sun is weak right after reviving, it may not reach far through the cold winter winds. However, it slowly grows and is eventually able to hail the coming of spring. At that time, the traveler may even fold up his cloak. Are you saying that I've been mistaken? The beautiful hall of the Yoshidomiya mansion was covered with a golden sparkle like gold leaf. Okay, I wonder if I should stop here. What the hell? Why do they only have those pictures? Okay, I mean, the others don't. I was waiting for the chapter to end, but I'm not sure how much longer this might go on. Not that I'm not intrigued, I'm totally intrigued and want to know what happens next, but I'm also very tired today, so... So I think I'll call it a day here. At least we have a kind of cliffhanger now. With regards to what exactly she's gonna do next. I hope she's just she's not going to go too overboard, but who knows.
Also, so if those two are dead next, what about him? Where did he go? Kind of want to know that as well. But yeah, I think it's a good place to stop for now, and we'll see that next time.